Hello everybody. It seems that it's time to start, so I will. So, should we fear the future? Well, I guess we could say, that not everybody is happy with Perl 5 as it is right now. It does not have a number of features that we expect in other languages. It has back compatibility issues. It's become harder and harder to put new things in, and I think I've started to use the word Jenga for the internals of Perl 5. For example, something that I've been playing along with for a long time is iThreads. Threads in Perl 5 are not as most people know them, because they are an emulation of fork on Windows backported to Unix. If you think about that, well, it's the architecture of Perl that actually forced this weird digression from reality, I would think. Anyway, what are the alternatives? I think Perl 6 is an alternative. A better runtime for Perl 5 would be an alternative. Other languages could be an alternative, or a new Perl 5 could be an alternative. So, what are the new Perl 5 initiatives? Will they not take away attention from the real Perl 5? Will they not fragment the developer base, or will they not be a bad thing all around? Well, that may be true, but it will be fun, and actually it has happened before. So let's look at some history. We had Perl 1, we had Perl 2, we had Perl 3, and then we got Perl 4, actually it's slightly before that already, because there's not too much difference between Perl 3 and Perl 4, but things started to get hairy. In 1991 you had several versions of Perl 4, because there was no extension mechanism. Extensions had to be hard-coded in the core. So you had OR Perl and SciPerl, for the people who actually remember this. So this was really hard to maintain with core changes. And so this was actually fixed in Perl 5, which we got in 1994. However, the design already started in 1993, so that's already quite some time before that. And it had modules and extensions and objects, and it actually was turning out to be a very easy language for scripting CGI. And after that, Perl became mainstream very quickly. And core development then was quite relatively easy, but Jenga was coming along very quickly. In 1998, some guy said, Perl is too hard to maintain. We should actually write it in C++. This would be the Perl for the 22nd century. I'm not making a mistake there. This was the actual quote. This was the actual announcement. Actually, this was tried for about a year and it was abandoned in 2000. But it became one of the inspirations for Perl 6. So in Perl 6, in 2000 we had Perl 6. It was supposed to be a community rewrite of Perl. We got RFCs from all over the world, still being digested by Larry at the moment, I think. And the result was a design document of some sort for Perl 6. But how are we going to implement this? So in 2001, after some joke at April 1st, we actually got our real first parrot. It was supposed to be the runtime for Perl 6 and a virtual machine. And then maybe other languages, and yeah, what can I say? It got out of hand, seriously, and I now consider it an Etzel. For those of you not in marketing, an Etzel is actually something that marketing people found out that everybody would like, but in the end nobody likes, because it doesn't have enough for anybody to like. In 2002, people started working on Pony. Pony was the Perl on new internal engine, and it was supposed to run on Parrot for Perl 5. This took about 4 years, and it was actually deemed unattainable in 2006, but it actually caused a major cleanup of Perl 5 internals, which actually got backported to 5.10. So even though it was something that didn't work out, it actually served a good purpose. And we can go on with this. Well, if it will let me. Yeah, what can I say? AT&T decided to drop the network on me. Okay, Here we go in. And it was my machine telling me that. Wow. So, in 2005, Pugs was started by RD Tang. It was supposed to be a prototype Perl 6 implementation using Haskell. In looking back, it provided many pointers for Rakudo, but it had a problem that it actually had to have people versed in Haskell to be able to contribute. And there weren't too many that wanted to morph their brain into understanding Haskell, I guess. Basically stalled in 2006. So there's still a huge test suite that was developed for Pugs that is actually used to this day. So again, this is something that had its use in the end. Another project that started in 2006 was Perlito. This is Flavio Bloch's work. And he wanted to compile a Perl 5 and Perl 6 subset to execute in JavaScript, Python, Ruby, whatever. So actually you can go to his project website, you can actually run Perl 5 or Perl 6 inside your browser, just run it there. It's not very complete, but you can. It doesn't have views really, so that's a problem. Flavio basically considered this complete in 2013, beginning of this year, but I have seen actually commits for a 64-bit machine code backend. So I'm not quite sure if he's still working on this or not, but again, it's a good model to look at. So what else did we see in the past years? We saw Moose coming up in 2006. It's a new object system for Perl 5. Stephen Little, it was actually inspired by Perl 6, and it was bolted on Perl 5. Oddly enough, the other people thought that too many modules were needed by Moose, so they started their mouse, moo, whatever. However, Moose is actually used widely in production, and I think it's a very good step up for people from Perl 5, the old object way, to Perl 6, the new object way. Anyway, Rakudo started in 2009. It was actually split off the parent project by Patrick Michaud and Jonathan. It's actually the further development of Perl 6. It extracted the 6 model object system, and it started this distancing itself from Parrot, so that other virtual machines should be possible. And that's actually now a fact. 2009 saw the development of STD5, which is actually parse Perl 5 code inside Rakudo. It may not in the end include indirect object syntax, because that's just something that's very screwy already in Perl 5, and maybe we don't want that in Perl 6. It will definitely not include accessor support, although maybe people will be crazy enough to actually write a native call interface to access. Don't think so. Anyway, this was rekindled by the Perl Unification Summit, and it was picked up by Frogs in 2013. And we now refer to it as use v5. And Frogs gave a nice presentation about this morning, and you can actually see that you can actually define a variable in Perl 6 and then use it in Perl 5 and vice versa and everything. So it's a very nice project. 2010 saw Nietzsche, which was implemented by Stefan Arrear from scratch. It's using .NET, and Mono as the virtual machine. There are potentially more core developers for it because there are more people knowing how to program in .NET than there are, for instance, in Haskell. But yeah, it is stuck to a single VM, and the single VM being .NET. NQP is something that developed in 2010. Patrick Michaud, Jonathan Mortensen. It's a subset of Perl 6. It's like the mini Perl of Perl 6. And it's used to bootstrap the real Perl 6. And it's pretty much VM agnostic. Well, for some definition of agnostic. 2011 saw the development of P5 MOP. This was back in P5 again. The idea was to actually integrate Moose into the Perl 5 core. This took about 2 years before people decided that it was getting too hard to actually do this in Perl 5. You could argue that it was Jenga that struck again. It could be argued that it's the community not interfacing with each other very well, but it is stalled. 2012 saw the development of the NQP JVM part. Jonathan Worthington again, writes Java bytecode. Allows Perl 6 to run on the JVM. Well, I think I understand this correctly. This would be in August or something like that. Around that. It already does Hello World now, so this is already something. And it actually is able to parse all its own code already, not execute all of it. 2013, beginning of 2013, saw the coming of Mo against Stephen Little. Somebody described this as plugs for Perl 5. I feel it's like the P5 mob frustrations coming out. And this may just turn out to be a thought experiment rather than anything else, which actually in the end Pugs was, but it has actually a nice side effect of having the test suite developed. So maybe other nice things will come out of that. 2013 also saw the development of P2 by Reini Irwin. It's like the Perl 5 plus I definitions that Damien mostly made at the beginning of the 2000s. It's using Potion as a backend. It should be writing directly to machine code, which would make it ultra fast. And there's some interest apparently of using it as another Rakudo backend, which would be, I think, would be very interesting. But I think we can also say that the community around it is still small and may not develop. 2012, somebody kept a secret. So the development of MoreVM, which is a new backend for NQP. It's not for Rakudo, it's for NQP. But since Rakudo runs on NQP, it's also a backend for Rakudo. It is an implementation of 6 model. It has complete Unicode support, generational garbage collect built in, and it should be up and running by August-ish, according to the announcement anyway. So, hey, that's interesting. Okay, something got copied there in the sorry about that. Something that came out of the MoreVM is that actually somebody is starting to development on running the standard Perl 5 interpreter inside MoreVM. So this was started by Diacopter, Matthew Wilson. I'm not sure what time we can actually put on this when this is going to be available, but if it becomes available, it's going to be really interesting because you can actually then run a Perl 5 program and then start running Perl 6 inside it. It will be actually the other way around, but you won't see that. So where are we now? We have classic Perl 5. We have Rakudo Perl 6 running on Parrot, JVM, MoreVM. We have Nietzsche, Perl 6. We have Mo, which is Perl 5. We have P2, which is sort of P5. And maybe soon we have the P5, P6 interop. So should we fear the future? I don't think so, because it's looking very good. But I think we should be vigilant. And we should do more rather than talk. So I should basically stop now and get back to hacking, but okay. So classic Perl 5, what are we looking at here? It's suffering from major Jenga. There are no people anymore that know everything. There are only very few people that know some of the internals of Perl 5, and some of them have expressed that they're not really interested in developing this anymore, or maintaining it. The code base was bad already in 1998, but it got better. In other ways, it got worse.
1997.
I can't argue with that. Okay. We have a stop P5 mob effort, but it is still on a yearly release schedule, and it's on 5.18.0 now. Get it at a local CPAN. We have Rakudo, which is now moving away from Parrot, you could say, although people will not actually say it's so hard. I think it is moving away. It's running on the JVM pretty much now. It will be running on the more VM soon. We actually have talk about the JavaScript backend that I actually forgot to mention, but this is part of the Google Summer of Code effort. It has a really healthy developers community. I understand that in the past year or half year, we had 70 different committers to We have 70 different committers to Rakudo and all its and Perl 6 in general. And we have monthly Rakudo star updates. If everybody that makes modules makes sure that they keep it clean. So we actually missed a few months for Rakudo updates, but there's one for May again, and most likely there will be one for June as well. Nietzsche was in more ways a complete Perl 6 and faster. It still has a healthy developer community, but it's still stuck to a single VM, and at the moment I think it seems stalled. So who knows what's going to happen there. We have got no MP2. They're still very early in their life cycle, so who knows what they will bring. So I have a final word of warning here. I think CPUs are not getting faster, but we'll get more CPUs. And I know from personal experience that writing a threaded program is hard. I really like to see Perl being able to do this automatically for me. Maybe with some hints, but basically this should be a USP of a modern Perl. It will take advantage of all the CPUs that we have without actually developers having to think about it much. A unique selling point. Sorry, I got infected by marketing, sorry. Perl 6 can auto-thread, at least from a specification point of view at the moment. It should be able to use multiple threads when it can. And like I said, we need maybe some hints to actually indicate that we want things to happen faster, more parallel. So in that case, in that sense, check out Junction, Hyper, and Race in Perl 6. And there's a talk by Patrick tomorrow about parallelism in Perl 6. And you get the nitty-gritty then. So what's the future of Perl 6? Well, I would say check out #Perl 6 on Freenode. There's lots of friendly people out there, and we get more people there every day. So it's getting crowded now, actually. Perl 5 will actually, I think we need to follow where Mo's going, and for what I'm seeing there, it will at least be a source of inspiration for the Perl 5 developments in the future. So, I think the future is bright. Questions? Wow. Okay.
Got one in the middle.
Yes?
I remember having conversation on some of these topics with you at dinner during the QA hackathon, which was just like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I will say that you actually sound more optimistic than you did then in terms of where things are going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still think that most people shouldn't try to program in threads?
In
threads.
Yes. Well, in Perl 5 threads.
Can
yes.
you repeat the question into the mic for the
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Am I still saying to people that they shouldn't program in Perl 5 iThreads? It was the question. Yes. Unless you really know what you're doing with Perl 5 iThreads, it is not something you can use in production. The combination of Moose and Perl iThreads, for instance, is something that will basically make it almost impossible for you to use iThreads, because Moose loads a lot of modules, and every time you start a thread, everything gets copied. Every scalar, every subref, everything. And if you get a startup of 1 second for a thread, it basically means that I don't think you can actually use this in production. Unless you really know what you're doing and you're actually accepting that kind of delay, well, then by all means use it. But For all the things that I wanted to use it for, it was basically not usable. That's it. Do I see more questions? Sorry, do I see more questions? And, okay, and getting back to the being more optimistic part, I got a recruiter commit, man. Okay, thank you.
All right, looks to be about 2:30, so I think we're supposed to start. So, okay, everybody hear me?